It's that time of the year again, where if you spend enough time on Amazon.com, you will start getting recommended fake Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultras. With the S25 Ultra being released last month, it sadly gives these Amazon sellers just enough time to create listings like this. The i25 Ultra unlocks smartphone 6.9 inch. Not only does it come in all colors of the rainbow, but the form factor is, well, according to this, it's close, right? But this one has got 108 million HD rear cameras, which I would imagine being closer to this, but that's just my opinion. We'll be sure to check that out, as well as the 68 megapixel front camera. And wow, it says it's got 8 gigabytes of RAM and 256 gigabytes of internal storage. And it's flashing a Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 processor, which is odd considering the new S25 Ultra has a Snapdragon 8 Elite. As you could imagine, with all these juicy specs and details, I had to order one for myself, and it just arrived a couple days ago. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I already opened it. I didn't open the phone, but I opened the box because I was just so excited to see if it came in official Samsung packaging. So in today's video, we're gonna open this up, take a look inside, take a look at the software, the gaming, the camera, see if it's everything that Amazon promised us it would be. And unfortunately, whenever I do these videos, those listings just seem to disappear. Some people say, come on, John Zoid, it's not really an S25, they called it an i25, but come on, literally everything about the intellectual property of the S25 was copied in the listing of this phone. Also, before we rip into this, I do invite you guys to check out the members options for this channel, as well as my Patreon, which I just launched. So if you guys would consider becoming a member or a Patreon supporter today, it would make it so much easier for me to be a full-time YouTuber, which happened about a month ago when I was laid off. Enough talk, let's open this thing up and see what we're dealing with. As you can see with the packaging, it is from Amazon. I made sure to rip off my address this time. I feel like every time I release a video, you guys are sending me messages like, hey, John Zoid, is this the house you live in? And I'm like, yeah, yes it is. Kind of a Transformers-esque box here. Looks nice. On one side, you've got the SKU number and information from China. On the other side, you've got the i25 Ultra, 8 gigabytes of RAM, as well as 256 gigabytes of internal storage. It is black, that's the one I ordered, and it's got a US charger. I recently got this Google Pixel 9, and when I opened the box, I found that it had this dingleberry of a charger. Made a short about it. If you guys want to see a full video about that, be sure to comment below and I'll get right to it. Okay, here we go. I think it could open from either end. The classic China phone packaging, as you could see. In the package, we've got the user guide, pretty much a copy of Apple's user guide. A US certified charge block. I'm kidding on the certified part. Fancy schmancy headphones. It's got a USB-C type plug or jack. I don't know what you call it. I've gotten these from gas stations for like way too much money, and they're horrendous. And does it have a USB-C to C type charge cable? No, it does not. It's an old school charge cable. Now, for the next part of the video, we're gonna flip the camera around and take a look at the actual phone itself. So first step is to take this thing's clothes off and take a good look at it. First impressions, it actually feels, you know what, it's got good weight to it. It feels okay. The cameras, they all look like they've got that blue lens, which is a sign it's fake. Maybe if we take this off, we'll see something different. All right, so now we've only got one blue lens. We're gonna test the camera in just a minute, but I wanna take off this back cover to see if there's a Samsung logo or anything like that. And no Samsung logo. All right, well, it's got that, what do you call it, the matte finish to the back, which feels nice. The first miss I'm seeing here is the wrong placement of the SIM tray, which is on the bottom of the phone with the S25 Ultra, and this one, yeah, the SIM is definitely not on the bottom, but the bottom on this fake one looks very similar to what you'd see on a real S25 Ultra. It's also got a stylus here, which we're gonna see how that works in a few minutes, but that button there does not click. Then on the remaining side, you have a power button as well as volume control. And since we're on that side of the phone, let's go ahead and power this on and see what she's got. Oh goody, to no surprise, it is a welcome phone, but we will go ahead and see what the chipset is on this. They're never that impressive, but we will get to that momentarily. Now, once I actually unlock the phone, I can see that they're going for a One UI look. With that being said, a very dated One UI. I'm very excited to look at the specs of this phone, but first, I do want to point out that the bezels aren't horrible, but they're not great. There's a big chin on the bottom here, and on each of the edges, there is quite a bit of black, with that going around the entire phone. So I'm only mentioning that if you're gonna buy a phone off of Facebook Marketplace, please watch for these things because it's pretty obvious. Like, don't be getting scammed, you know what I'm saying? Alright, so I want to take a closer look at the back cameras here just because these are quite sus. Anytime there's a blue tint to these lenses, it's like a guarantee they are fake. Also, I want to see if these lenses have the rings around the edges like Jerry Rig Everything showed us. And I've got this Chinese version of a Swiss Army knife, so let's see if we could pry up on this bottom lens here and see if a ring will pop. Oh wow, the entire lens is giving. I can feel the whole thing lifting up right here. Well, this isn't good. Well, there isn't any ring, but the lens is definitely fake because I just cracked the whole thing off. Also, going into the camera and looking at the different modes, there's no wide angle or any other camera features other than pretty much fake modes like cute, beauty, video, picture, blur, PIP mode, filter mode. It's just a bunch of bogus filters. Now, in all fairness, with the rear camera, I took some really nice photos that I was actually very impressed by. I've taken similar photos with phones from Dollar General or Family Dollar, and they're definitely not this high quality. Now, the video quality wasn't all that impressive, but the selfie camera was okay, and that is what you are looking at here. So definitely not 106 million cameras good quality, but it's pretty decent quality, and if you needed a phone to take some photos, I guess this would do the job. Just don't do this to your phone. Now, the specs on the phone are interesting because when you go into the settings and you go to About, it just blatantly shows the S25 Ultra photo here, followed by, you know, the RAM of 8GB and the ROM of 256GB with the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 CPU. It's all listed there in the settings. It also reads that 14GB out of 256GB have been used, which I'm going to show a discrepancy in a few moments here on why that is not accurate. I use this handy dandy app called GCPU, and it helps me to pull accurate specs of these cell phones that I'm buying from all over the place. But the first issue is it shows that the phone has a MediaTek Helio P22 CPU, not quite the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3. The P22 is pretty outdated with it being released in 2018, and it was actually designed for mid-range phones. The other discrepancy shows that there are 63GB of 256GB that have been used, not the original 14GB. So the original sellers or manufacturers of this phone are throttling the specs so they do not read correctly, whether it's on this app or within the settings of the phone, which is confirmed with the screen size reading 10.8 inches. This application is being manipulated to some degree just because it's reading so oddly. So this SIM card is from my last video where I bought a phone from the police and it was stolen, but I wanted to try activating it. In the end, it didn't work, but I've got this active SIM card that I figured I would install into the phone and see if we could make a phone call. Now, what's really odd, when I installed the SIM card, I was getting this reading right here saying that the phone was 5G, which is literally impossible because the MediaTek Helio P22, it does not have 5G capabilities.
In order to restore your service, you need to reinsert your SIM card.
Huh, well that's interesting. I didn't know that Straight Talk was locked to a specific phone when you activate the service. So I popped that SIM card out, put my own SIM card for T-Mobile into the phone, and it's still reading 5G. Let's go ahead and try to do a test call to my wife.
Your call has been forwarded to voicemail. The person you're trying to reach is not available.
All right, well, the call went through. My wife texted me that she is in class right now, but definitely not on 5G, and she said the voicemail sounded clear, so it could make calls on T-Mobile at least. Sadly, I am probably being tracked by some Chinese spyware now, but hey, that's the risk I take for these videos, right? So not only does this phone have finger lock security, but it also has face lock security. Now, I know for a fact that face lock is going to be horrible, but I wanted to test the fingerprint because it's on screen. It asked me to set up a password. I did 123456, and interestingly enough, it did not warn me about the pattern, which it usually does on pretty much any other phone that I've done this on other than this one. Now, I will say, when it asked me to register my fingerprint, I was trying the power button and then the volume buttons because I just wasn't sure where to press, and it wasn't until now that I realized there was a fingerprint on the screen. So I tried doing it right here, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, I think it was like 10 presses, and then my fingerprint just like that was magically registered. Wow. Well, now it's time to test how secure this is. I can see there is a fingerprint on the home screen, so we'll start with my left thumb, which is the one that's registered, and it unlocked. That was suspiciously easy. Let's go ahead and test a different finger and see what it results. Oh, okay, well I guess my pointer finger works as well. I have a feeling my knuckle is going to work just as well. I don't know how it's going to register, but let's go ahead and give it a go. I don't know how to line this up. Oh, it's not working that... Oh, okay, well I guess you could use just about any body part to unlock the phone if you register your pointer finger, including my left thumb. Okay, left thumb, knuckle, whatever. Wow. Now, your gaming is going to be pretty limited on this phone considering it's a Helio P22 chip, so just for the gaming demonstration, I stuck to Hill Climb Racing and another one of my all-time favorites, which I'll show in just a few seconds. Typically, I stick to Call of Duty Mobile to show gaming capabilities, but it took me literally 4 hours to download on this phone, and once it was completed, I didn't even want to try to launch it because I know that it wouldn't be able to download all the resources. Now, Hill Climb Racing and Hungry Shark Evolution would work fine on this phone, along with all of your classic social apps like Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, WhatsApp, but I would not count on this phone running smoothly once you actually get all of your information downloaded to it. For the light gaming I've done on here in this video and the few applications I've downloaded, it's worked fine, but this phone is not worth the $200. You may as well just get a used flagship device, even if it's like 4 years old, guys. It would still do the job. So yeah, this phone can definitely do smartphone things, but I wouldn't advise anyone to get this, especially because it's just sketchy how the specs are faked, and it's just all around a sketchy phone. If you guys have $200 and you're looking for a good phone, there's a lot of options like you could see in all my videos. I've put them down in the description below. I just want to thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please consider subscribing, and if you guys want to become a channel member or Patreon member, it would help me so much. Not only will you get early access to my videos, but I will be releasing extra videos on both Patreon and YouTube at any membership level. If you want to see more videos like this, be sure to subscribe because I release multiple videos like this every single week. We'll catch you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.